a regular session of the Board of Education of Pearl River County School District held September 9th, beginning at 5:30 p.m. at the Endeavor campus. Mr. Frazier, will you lead us in the invocation, please?
Let us bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we come once again to say thank you for the many blessings you bestowed upon us. We ask you, Heavenly Father, to be with us as we deliberate the business of this school district. We ask you, Heavenly Father, to watch us and guide us. Let us work together in harmony. As you bless our students, Heavenly Father, as they go through another year, and just protect them to all our home. Bless our administrators as they continue to provide guidance and leadership in this school, and all the school board members, Heavenly Father, bless them as well. And bless this community, Heavenly Father, and help them understand that we need to work together to be another successful year. And Lord, I ask you also, Heavenly Father, to watch over our soldiers and the many people serving the community service industry, Heavenly Father. Protect them as they face many dangers throughout their daily lives. Heavenly Father, we ask you to just continue watching and guide us. In your Son, Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Frazier. Chief Harold, will you lead us in the pledge, please?
Ready, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Chief. Let the minutes reflect that there are no public comments. Do I have a motion to consider the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Jones, for that motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you for that second, Mr. Frazier. Any discussion? I will call for a vote. All in favor make known by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Oh, I'll have to slow it down after vote. Do I have a motion to consider approving the board minutes of August 9th, 12th, and 25th, 2021?
Motion.
Thank you for that motion, Mr. Harris. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you for that second, Mr. Frazier. Any discussions? I will call for a vote. All in favor make known by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Superintendents Report, Mr. Lumpkin.
Thank you, Dr. Bowden. We'll welcome everyone out to our regularly scheduled September school board meeting. Remind our school board members that you have your monthly regular financial reports and the district data reports emailed to you. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us for any clarification or any further information you need in reference to those reports. We do have a special young lady that's joined us for the first time tonight. And without further ado, I'd like to ask our high school principal, Ms. Kimberly Alford, if she would come forth at this time and introduce the 2021-2022 student school board representative.
Thank you. Thank you all so much. We are so excited. We had elections actually while we were virtual, and we hosted those elections, and we are thrilled to have with us tonight Ms. Presley Gower. Ms. Gower was selected as our student body, our student council president, and so you all know that that means that she will represent our entire district student body as our student rep on the board. Presley is a senior this year at PRC High School. She carries a 4.0 GPA. She is a member of the cheerleading team. She has been a representative since 7th grade on student council. She is also our local representative and winner of our Distinguished Young Women competition. She went on to the state level and placed first runner-up. We are extremely proud of Presley and of all that she represents for our school and our community, and I'm so excited that she will be serving in this capacity this year. Help me welcome Ms. Presley Gower.
Thank y'all. Thank you, Ms. Alford and Mr. Lumpkin and PRC School Board for trusting me to represent the student body I look forward to providing a monthly report to you and our community. At our elementary, 2 weeks of virtual learning was an adventure. Students and teachers did an amazing job working through issues, and we were excited to welcome students back to in-person learning on September 2nd. Grandparents' Day will be virtual tomorrow on September 10th, and September 24th, the PTO will do their first candy sale. Kindergarten has finished KRA testing, and all the students are enjoying their student-wide dress-up days this week. For PRC Middle School, August was a hectic but great month. Student attendance was 87% for the month, including our virtual weeks at home. Even despite the disruptions, great things are occurring daily at the middle school. Faculty has gone above and beyond in reference to juggling the demands of both virtual and in-person learning. Students have completed their iReady Diagnostic number 1 and began their learning tracks. Tonight, the Blue Devils take the field for their first game of the season, and we are currently celebrating Spirit Week. Recently, our dance team stepped up and began a donation drive for Louisiana schools that were affected by Hurricane Ida. Commitment to graduate ceremonies are scheduled for the upcoming weeks for all grades, and we are excited about the launch of our kindness campaign with both students and staff. PRCHS had a busy, exciting start to the year. We kicked off August with an epic pep rally where seniors won the Spirit Stick. We are currently celebrating Homecoming Week, and seniors are in the lead for the Homecoming Spirit Stick. Construction has been progressing around campus with 3 new parking areas being completed this week. It's great to see the progress of our new multi-purpose building as well. Attendance for the month of August was 86%, with half of those days being virtual instruction. At PRCHS, we are proud of all that we accomplished through the challenges August brought our way. The Endeavor School currently has 32 total students, 15 from PRC High School, 8 from PRC Middle School, 3 from Poplarville High School, and 6 students from Poplarville Middle School. Also, there was only 1 total discipline for the month of August. The Endeavor School has recently begun a book study for their staff. The book is titled The Coffee Bean by John Gordon. They have also increased positive signage in and around campus. This concludes my first month report. Thank you for the opportunity to serve my school, our student body, and the community.
Thank you, Preston, and we look forward to your monthly reports, and I look forward to your leadership as well for our student body. Thank you so much. Ms. Foster, I'd like to introduce another special guest with us tonight, Mr. John Brinke, and I'd like to ask him to come to the podium at this time. Board members, you know, in our district, we thrive on data, and we let data push us in the direction that we need to go and help drive the decision-making process. Mr. Brinke approached me a couple of months ago and provided some information with me that I believe tells the story of the Burger County School District in reference to student assessment and what we are able to do with the amount of funds that we receive from our school district. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Brinke.
Hey, thank you very much for having me here today. My wife Kelly and I were here from Ocean Springs, and I said Mr. Lump came a long time ago, so in 1900, my grandmother was born in this area, and so grew up in Ocean Springs, a little bit of connection there. My company is called StratSpot, and what we do is we specialize in using data, math, and statistics, especially, kind of form a strategy with it. And usually I work in the defense industry. I work with shipyards, aircraft makers, and this kind of stuff. But I also, as I was on the Ocean Springs School Board for a while, I was always doing the data on trying to figure out what we were doing. And when I started this company, I said, no, this is a place that I can also do the same thing. And Pearl River, I asked around, and Pearl River County was one of the school districts that I targeted. I wanted to get to know you folks, and I'm going to get to know you a little bit first. But Ms. Voss, is okay with you? I'm going to take 10, 12 minutes, no more, and I'm going to tell you a story with some data about some neat things that are going on here in Pearl River County, and the hope is that eventually we might invite you back. So that's what I think. So I'm going to go ahead with my slide deck. Go ahead, slide deck.
I can email it to her real quick. It won't take just a second.
Okay, sure. I appreciate it. I would folks in my audience.
Or your email address, is that okay?
And will the people live be able to see it? Okay, great.
While we're waiting, I'll also tell you that I was a graduate Kelly, I both graduated from Danville High School. Congratulations, graduation. We played the program county, we did it all the time, and we used to get done too much, but that's okay. So. There it is. All right. That's my company. By the way, the winged horse, that was a long time ago when I was a little boy, and my mother told me that I had a winged horse that lived in a tree. So that's kind of my company motto there.
Let's let it get live too, so that everybody can follow along.
All right, next slide, please.
So did you do one term as a school board?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I didn't quite finish one term, but it was a good
Well,
experience.
we saw term 3, 4, 5, it's just, so we greatly appreciate Mr. Jones.
Institutionalism is a big deal. It's a good thing to have.
Did you enjoy it?
Yes, ma'am. I genuinely did, and it was, we're doing something important. We're doing something important.
Very important.
All right. Okay, the next slide. All right, a little bit of fun here, but a little bit of context, and it's important. Did you know that if you had $6.02 million, that's $6,020,000, it would weigh 106 pounds, and if you stacked it up, it would be 21.6 feet high as $100 bills. And if you had $18.72 million in $100 bills, that would be about 329 pounds, about 67 feet high. The reason I'm saying this is the two ideas is first is that, let's stress this is a lot of money, but second, this is not an abstraction. Because if you go to the next slide, that $6.02 million, that is what taxpayers here in Pearl River County, that they provided to the school district in 21, and that $18.72 million is what was provided to this county, or to the school district in a bond issue. Taxpayers got behind you and said, we're going to borrow money on your behalf. This ain't trivia, this ain't abstraction, we're talking a lot of money. Matter of fact, for a PRC homeowner, if he's got $122,000, he's paying about $367 a year. This is what I understand, I think I have this a little bit wrong, but here's and by the way, these numbers are don't count what the state is paying. I'm just talking about local here. But when I visited with Mr. Lumpkin, one of the things that we got talking about was, how do you know that you're getting what you need? What you want to get at it. You get as much as you can, as much as you should, out of this investment that your taxpayers are making. That's the big question. And he asked that question. Other school districts that I'm talking to asked that question as well. And so what I did is I said, Mr. Lumpkin, I actually talked to other districts. I actually came up with a metric to measure that. And I'll show you how you're showing up next to other folks. Let's look at the next slide. This graph is going in that direction. Each dot that you see on that graph is a Mississippi school district. And as you go side to side, you're looking at the per pupil expenditures of that school district. And as you go up and down, you're seeing a test score. Particularly, you're seeing an ACT score. And if your dots showed up there on the bottom right, that means you're high in expenditures but low in results. It's kind of a low productivity group. If you show up in that upper right part, you see that green, that means you're spending more money than average, but you're also getting better results than average. And conversely, if you're down in that yellow area, you're not spending a lot of money, you're not getting very good results. The place I want to point out to you is that upper left. That's where you're not spending a lot of money, but you're still getting good results. And that circle there is Pearl River County School District. Okay? You can see not spending as much as the average, which is about $9.4 thousand a year, but still getting above average in these particular test scores. That's what value is all about. That's productivity. Now, Mr. Lumpkin said, well, can we be a little bit more specific? And yes, we can. Let me do this. Go to the next slide. If I take the test score of a district and then I divide it by the amount of money that district is spending per pupil, that's a productivity metric. That's a productivity measure. How much am I putting in versus how much I'm getting out? And the neat thing about that productivity metric is that the test scores in statistical terms are what we call normally distributed, and the per pupil expenditures are also normally distributed. Because of that, it means the metric is normally distributed, and I can do a percentile ranking. And when I do this 10th percentile ranking for 2018, apologies, that's a little bit, but you can see that that red line is Pearl River County School District, 91st percentile. The interpretation is this: a tax dollar in Pearl River County School District produced more benefit than 91% of the school districts in the state. 91%, 91%, that's a pretty good deal. And that is your school board, which is getting this money and putting these expectations here. It's also your leadership that's doing this, and your teachers in the classroom, but also, I'm not sure if he's here, I think his name is Mr. Burleson, but your business manager. This is a team effort to produce that result. I'll just stop there. Does it make sense what I just did? Any questions? As kind of an economics and a statistics person, I'm going to tell you that one swallow don't make a summer. Kelly was saying swallow, something about when I was practicing with her or whatever, like swallow is the bird. If you go to the next slide. See the swallow there? One swallow don't make a summer. Just because you've had one result doesn't mean that there's a trend or anything there. So what I did is I went and looked at another result. I looked at another year. Go to the next slide. 2019, Pearl River County was 95th percentile in the same metric. So you see the idea of what we're doing here. This is just an example of the kinds of things that I'm pretty good at, is taking data and telling stories with it that school boards can have good information to make decisions with, but also that they can develop community support for decisions that they're making. And I'd be honored to come back here and roll it back again. I said this is one of the school districts I would love to work with. I would love to come back and work with you guys. And have any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Mr. Brinkley, for presenting that information. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Brinkley?
I've got to get my card, as well as I've also done, just quickly, I've done some work on the impact of socioeconomics on test scores. It's not widely known, but that socioeconomics of a school district will have an effect on test scores. And what I did is I developed a method that you can remove that effect and look purely at the goodness of a school, how good a school district is. And I'm going to come back and share that stuff with you. Thank you very much for having me.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Green, you said that you're really good at analyzing the data and coming up with a picture of what we're doing. Do you also maybe provide some recommendations how to improve on the school year and that?
Absolutely. One of the things is you need to keep this team in place. These guys are doing a good job at it. But one of the things, like for example, the socioeconomic issue, one of the things that we see is that places that you're strong, and how, when you end up in a really high performing place, sometimes it's harder to go from 90th percentile to 95th than it is to go to 50th to 55th. And helping you identify those kind of places, that's kind of a resource allocation issue. Yes, sir. I can absolutely help you with that kind of stuff. Also, stuff looking at test scores. You can looking at. I'm not talking about looking at any individual students. I'm not talking about looking at any individual student's information because I'm not privy to that. I should never have that. But looking at just students' improvement numbers. I could help Mr. Lumpkin and his class say, hey, this person would be, kind of designing a method to statistically assign students to places we think that they might be able to better perform. That's the kind of stuff that I can do very, very well. I appreciate the question. I appreciate your time. Y'all have a great evening. We're going to take off. Thank you much.
Thank you, I appreciate you. Y'all be careful driving back. Thanks again. I thought it was very important as he shared this information, that there's a story. It's a very, very good story. I think it's a story that our community needs to hear. And especially as he mentioned, and I'll go ahead and ask Sean to come up. Sean's going to give us our construction report. Sean, will you come on up? He mentioned the bond issue, and our community supported that bond issue, and their taxes are going towards that, as well as their normal everyday ad valorem taxes. And for them to know that they're getting that type of return on their investment is huge. And I think it's very important for Mr. Brinkley to share that with you as a school board for affirmation, but also with our community, let our community know they're getting the bang for their buck here in the Bourbon County School District. So thank Mr. Brinkley for that. And at this time, I'll turn it over to Sean to share some updates on construction.
Thank you for having me. We're going to talk about the outside because the weather is hindering us in that area. The building has been caught up on the lower roof side with your air conditioning and your heating and your electrical. So we're working on the high side for the building now, which the top isn't on, so we can't get the electrical done, we can't get the plumbing done. But we did get the back parking lot paid. Student park, single parking lot was finished this morning, but today, the striping will be done on that over the weekend to keep from disrupting your parking in that area. I do want to talk to you about the issue we had with GBL and what water was getting into the building. What we found out that the elevation was 12 inches higher than what it is in the building. Because once you go in the building, it steps back. So what we done was cut a swell in there to pull that water away from the building toward the new drains that we had put in there. Okay. As we're working, we're shooting for May not happen with the weather. Contractor said today that he will have it finished by May. With the employees they had out there yesterday, that can't happen if they can keep that consistent. So I just wanted to let you all know that we are shooting for May and everything is ongoing for May. With that being said, we're working on the high roof side of the building. Storm blew a couple of pieces of metal off the top, but nothing significant during this last storm. So that's ongoing. We started putting your metal framing up on that side of the building because your brick veneer is making its way around that building. That's where we are now, the back side of the building with your bricks. And the gable part of that, I figure by Wednesday of next week, they'll be through with the south side of that building. The metal framing will also be done on the east side of the building because they're working on the way around the building, the street side of the building. Then we can start putting sheathing on the building, applying the bricks to the building. Getting the building closed in. Once we get that building closed in, the work will really pick up. Yeah. Like I said, with that swell, you shouldn't have no problem with that water coming in on the outside of the building. Everything else is ongoing. Regular building, metal framing, plumbing. Plumbing is ahead, electrical is ahead right now. We're waiting on the framers to catch up with him. Once we get the frame up here, we can bring them back in and run the electrical, the rest of the air conditioning, heating, and so forth and so on.
Board members, I have what he's referring to, of course, the multi-purpose building. That's our last new construction building. Any questions for Mr. Sean?
Have any idea when the big water tank is going to be buried?
If not next week, we got it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, because it is up outside.
Thought somebody gonna take it.
Well, they take that, they'll give a big question. But next week they'll shoot for that. Because like I said, they got some more drainage to do on the west side of the building. We got that cleared out once they drop that tank. We didn't want to put that tank in the ground and the rest of it lines are running too. But you put the tank in the ground, that dirt gonna get in, you need the part, so we could try to seal it, but with the weather we've been having, we won't seal it. Yeah, so, we shoot for end of next week, the middle of the following week, all that.
Any other questions for Mr. Sean? Thank you for that report, and I appreciate you.
We appreciate you, thanks for that.
Yes, sir.
We need to get your tank in the ground.
Ms. Voss, I would like to share some recognitions for the month of August. As we all know, it's been a very challenging start to the 2021-2022 school year. And this is, we ended the year last year talking about every employee in the district could have received Employee of the Month, and we start this year with the same statement. Any employee could receive recognition this month, and all deserve to receive recognition this month. But I do want to share the ones that have been selected. August Employees of the Month at the elementary school. Teacher of the Month, Logan Bales. Support Staff of the Month, Lisa Calabrese. At the middle school, Teacher of the Month, Sharon Kelly. And Support Staff of the Month, Connie Gold. At the high school, Teacher of the Month, Patsy Mitchell. And Support Staff of the Month, Shayna Adams. In the Transportation Department, Support Staff of the Month is Jamie Smith. And Food Service Department Support Staff is Venus Hampton. The District Support Staff Member of the Month is Shelley Deal. And the Administrator of the Month, we selected to move up here so he can be able to get out the door his head, is Mr. T.J. Burris. Don't tell him he got it. But anyway, those are just employees that, again, went above and beyond for the month of August. And I would like to share, just like Will in the email, that very appreciative of all of our employees across the district for the month of August. It's been a challenging August, but they have risen to the occasion. They have stood in the gap for their fellow colleagues as they have covered and wear multiple hats throughout the district with no complaints. And I just love and appreciate it more every single day. Just a couple of announcements to conclude our report tonight. The date to remember next week, September the 14th, is Suicide Prevention and Awareness Walk at our Carrier Community Walking Track. And I shared a flyer, I emailed that out to our parents as well. And so check that flyer for more information. Just remember that it's the Carrier Community Walking Track. It's not the walking track behind Central Office on our campus. Carrier Community Walking Track over there across the road from Coco's and the Dollar Store area. So if you can join us, that'd be great. If you can't, on September 14th, just like a lot of you did tonight, you can wear lavender or purple on that day to raise awareness of the suicide prevention and awareness. So with that, we will conclude our superintendent report.
A few
Say,
things.
Mr. President,
Okay.
everybody doesn't have all the colors.
Mr. Howard, I knew he was going to show me up. But bubbles are.
It looks good.
Thank you. See, it's what happens when you turn 50. I don't know what I'm saying.
It's all right.
Seeing a youngster like that, you can remember it. In reference to Mr. Brinkley, something he said, and I just kind of wanted to shine light on our strategic plan. And our school, our students do not accomplish what they're accomplishing without the simple fact that our superintendent, our admin, and our teachers will not settle for less. And when I looked at the strategic plan, reviewing it for the board meeting tonight, I just kept thinking to myself, it looks great. I love all the colors, I love it all, it's so professional. But wow, in the midst of a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic, I look at our increasing student achievement. And that we, as a district, still want to see our children increase academically. And when we had our workshop a few weeks ago, out of the gate, my heart wants to make excuses for why, our kids just possibly may have had a hard year, or our teachers really, really are suffering and it's so difficult. And our superintendent and our admin stand here and say, we can do better. We will think of ways, we will be creative, we're going to pull together, bridge the gap, and do what we have to do so that our kids continue to not only achieve, but what it says is increase student achievement. And it's on our board agenda, so the public can go click the link and look at what we're expecting our students to do. And in order to do that, we need the parents' support as well. So I just, as he was talking, and it's amazing to see it in numbers, because data is data. It is what it is. It's not just talk, it's not just opinion, it is data. And to see us time after time come out on top, that doesn't happen by accident. That happens with intentional work, with intentional direction, with an intent to do that. So I just wanted to say that, and then also I wanted to, every year when we get a new student school board member, I'd like to kind of outline a little bit about what we would also like for you to participate in, and what our vision is for our school board member. Now, you're a little special to me, as everyone knows. I didn't even know Presley was running for student council president, but she's been part of my family for quite a few years now, dating my son. So I'm very, very blessed to have you at the board table. But every year, our student school board members have just amazed us and contribute in their own way. Isn't it great? Just in their own way. They have their own little way of contributing. Gage really took a lot of the bond by the boards, and a lot of school safety. We've had, every single student just has their own little creative way of contributing. So you're going to have your own way. We love the reports, but if there's something that you're passionate about, be passionate and aggravate the snot out of us. It's okay. That's what you're here for. And you've heard me say it before, time and time again. Last year when Ethan was a senior, he would tell me things. Well, Mama, this has to change. And I'm like, well, why are you telling me? I can't do nothing. I'm nobody. To him at school, I'm nobody. Take it to your student body president. And he did. He aggravated so many poor thing that he wanted things to change. So represent your students. Let their voices be heard here at the table. Also, and that's why it was so important that our board wanted our students' voice to be here and to be heard. So periodically, as we're making decisions, we may, and I don't want to catch you off guard, we may look at you, one of the board members, and say, Presley, how do you feel this would affect you in school and your day-to-day schooling? And or can you go back to the student body and ask this question and poll it for us to let us know how the students feel about this? Okay? And there are certain things like our board walked through, the student body president and board member comes with us so that they can also point out certain things that they would like to see improved on or fixed or whatever. So there's going to be some activities throughout the year that, as the board participates in it, we also would ask you to participate in if your schooling allows, depending on if Ms. Allison's not here. The principal says it's okay. But thank you for being a part. I'm excited, and I feel extra special blessed. Does anybody else have anything to say in regards to the superintendent's report? Okay, well, I'll just ramble for everybody. Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Lumpkin, for that report.
Thank you, Ms. Mills.
Okay, do I have a motion to consider approving the following financial items? And if the board so chooses, we can take that A through T.
Make a motion to consider approving the following financial items, and it starts with item A through T.
Thank you, Mr. Frazier, for that motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Jones, for that second. Any discussion? We're missing TJ, there's our discussion, put that on in the minutes. There you go. I will call for a vote, all in favor, make known by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Do I have a motion to consider approving pay application number 14 to Colony Construction?
Motion to consider approving pay application number 14 to Colony Construction.
Thank you, Mr. Jones, for that motion. Do I have a second? Thank you, Mr. Herron, for that second. Any discussion? We'll call for a vote. All in favor, make known by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Do I have a motion to consider approving pay application number 15 to Colony Construction? Thank you for that.
Second.
That quiet motion over there, Mr. Herron. Thank you for that second, Mr. Frazier. Any discussion? I'll call for a vote. All in favor, make known by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Do I have a motion to consider the consent agenda? And that goes A through I.
Motion to consider the consent agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Jones, for that motion.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Herron, for that second. I will call for a vote. No, not under consent. I will call for a vote. I do want to say real fast to our condolences to Mr. No, it was just a statement. You can just make it.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mr. Herron.
No, that's it. That's all.
How do you say his last name?
Dupree.
Dupree, Mr. Dupree's family, and our transportation department, our family. All in favor, make known by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Okay, under policies, do I have a motion to, and I'm going to take that A through C, to accept the policies, and I'm just going to go all together so I don't have to read all those letters. All the policies and the revisions and the rescission. For A through C.
Motion to adopt policies A through C.
Second.
The items, I guess. I guess you mean items. Yeah. Okay, thank you for that motion, Mr. Jones. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Herron. Any discussion? Good job, Joe.
Yeah, I just really wanted to say that, as we, continue to look at the different policies, we continue to evolve, and things are getting better and better each and every time, and it's doing a fantastic job. I just want to really commend you, the entire team, how you look at these policies, and really picking through all of the details and just making the appropriate changes. So, doing a fantastic job.
I'd just like to make sure credit is given where credit's due, and that's Dr. Boatman and Sherry Gordon working very closely together and with the school board members to make that happen. They're doing a great job.
Especially Mr. Frazier.
Especially Mr. Frazier. He carries us on that. Dr. Bowen's not the best secretary, but she's a dog.
She can get a pass on the secretary.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Mr. Frazier. I will call for a vote. All in favor, make known by saying aye. have a motion to consider discussing and approving policy GBEN?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Herron, for that motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you for that second, Mr. Frazier. Any discussion?
Ms. Wells, make sure you should have both attachments there. You have two example policies there. You have policy GBEN, you have the alternate policy GBEN as well that the board has asked to review. So we have that as a board for you to review and discuss and choose one or the other or none of the policies.
Yeah, it was to discuss and approve.
Is it discussing?
It's an and approve. But let me ask you this. So aren't the additions the same?
No.
I thought it was.
One version D allows the enhanced care permit code.
Oh, I see, okay. Oh, it's not highlighted, that's why.
This one.
Okay. No, this, he's got something under one.
This is the highlighted portion. This is policy GBEN. This is the alternate policy.
Can I see this?
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, you can have those back, so everybody's.
Now, I'll copy you.
Oh, I'm good.
You saw this part of the top. That was.
That's just the first.
Yeah.
You saw it. Yeah, let others do, president over there. Okay, so exception, so the difference between, Mr. Lumpkin, will you, briefly, so H and B, right? A and B. So B has.
You want me to give a quick?
Yeah, a synopsis of it, yeah, the addition of.
Because when you started out, the first version A was the original policy we had before.
Correct, with the addition of the highlighted portion there, you see about motor vehicle, because you like the, as an example, Ocean Springs policy, I believe, it added that portion that the possession of fire could be in the motor vehicle, secured in the motor vehicle. That's the only difference in the original one recommended from the school association. Okay, so if you go over to the second, the alternate policy.
Real fast, and that was a consensus that we had all agreed on.
Correct.
So that's why it was just automatically added into the A and B, because we all wanted that. Okay.
The alternate policy that Mr. Keith put together for you to consider that your wish is to provide an alternate policy in reference to allowing enhanced concealed carry, but also to provide language in reference to an employee that was that had an enhanced concealed carry on a person on campus and might carry it correctly or an accident or whatever the case may happen. How would we handle those situations? And you see that. I'll just read it to you. The difference is that any employee, I'll start from the top. Possession of any weapon as defined in policy JCDAE in Portland County School District premises or any school-related activity by any employee of the PRCSD is prohibited, except for those employees having an enhanced concealed carry permit issued pursuant to Mississippi law. PRCSD employees having such permit shall not brandish, exhibit, display, or show publicly or privately the weapon. PRC employees in violation of this policy shall be disciplined accordingly, including possible termination of employment. Go down to the second paragraph, and there's a little insert there that basically talks about the exemption in the paragraph above, and that exemption is the employees that have an enhanced concealed carry.
Thank you for that synopsis. Okay, does anyone have any, Mr. Herman? Does anybody have anything to say on that?
we have been talking about this for quite some time. I remember when we first got on, I first got on the board, this policy came back then, and we've been trying to get it refined as best as possible. Now, this year, we've had a little bit, I guess, renewed emphasis on it. We brought in the chief of police of the school district, the county sheriff, we had a retired FBI professional, I think his name was Jeffrey Franks.
Yes.
And then we've had a recommendation from our administration team. You're right. Administration team, even our legal advice. And we also had folks from the community and some teachers on. They all came up. And I have to first of all say that everybody was very passionate about the position that they took. One of the things that, and before I go any further, I want to make sure we understand that why are we even doing this policy or any policy? And first and foremost, we need to be focused on what's best for our kids. What's the most important thing? When we enact a policy or when we try to enforce a policy, does it provide a benefit for the children? So and a lot of the comments that have been made, talking about constitutionality, talking about Second Amendment right and things of that nature. And I'm not a lawyer, not going to try to be a lawyer. That's not my repertoire. I'm looking for advice from people who are. And so we talked to our MSBA policy managers and also our legal advisor. And I also passed out a handout to the board members and also to Mr. Lumpkin, which is a Mississippi State Attorney General's opinion about what a school can and cannot do. And it's pretty lengthy. There's a lot of different arguments in it, but there is a conclusion on the 4th page, and it talks about exactly the rights of the school district. And one of the things that people were hesitant about approving the original policy was about the legality of it. Was it in violation of the Constitution? And that was the biggest thing about it. But everybody, this is just a public document. It's out there for anybody to see it. And I want to read all 4 pages of it. What it says that a school district may, in its discretion, prohibit its employees who hold an enhanced carry license from possessing their weapon at the school. So this is a legal opinion from the state attorney general. And so the thing that was involvement again was, are we in violation of the law? Like I said, this is not a new argument because this opinion comes back from 2013. So this thing has been debated multiple times, and the consensus has always come back that yes, the school does have the authority to limit weapons by the employees on school campus. Now there are some caveats about the general public. It can't limit those people who have enhanced carry permit to places that are not part of the public domain, like classrooms and meeting with teachers. But other general areas on the school campus, you cannot limit those people from carrying weapons. But again, the policy that we're looking at right now is talking about our employees. And so the question I have to ask my fellow board members, our teachers are in the classroom to provide education to students. They're not there to be a police officer, a peace officer, or a tactical officer, anything like that. And we've got enough things that we're dealing with right now to add firearms on top of it. And so I like the original policy because, again, as a board, if we don't provide the directions, our employees don't know where we're trying to go with this. Mr. Lumpkin, he came to us originally and said, I really need to know where we're going with this thing. And without providing direction, again, I think we're failing as a board. So we've been sitting on this thing for quite some time. But again, so the legal point that I want to make sure we understand that the school board does have the right to enact policies that restrict its employees from carrying concealed weapons in the classroom. And that's the only thing I really want to emphasize. We have the right to make that policy. So if it's a legal issue, I think that has been decided for us already because it's been debated in the legislature and the Attorney General has provided his opinion on that. So again, our leadership came to us and said, we don't think it's a good idea to have weapons in the classroom. And they asked us to approve the original policy. We barked on that because, again, we was afraid on the legal ramifications. I, for one, am very comfortable with following the opinion of the State Attorney General. And so, we haven't made any motions yet, but that's just my point of view.
legality is not, I have no question of that. I mean, the right to do that is within the board's special articles that we were told that all along. So that's not been the issue for me.
Okay.
The point that just because you can do something doesn't necessarily mean you should. So I agree. It is illegal for us to do that.
I have 3 children in the school system. First of all, we should all pray every day we don't have to worry about this either way, which other one we choose. I voiced my opinion about my child being in a classroom with someone who is permitted to carry and a teacher or a coach at the same time, and I do feel safe with my child being in that classroom. And that's what I have to look at. That's what I have to use as a parent to go by. With that being said, I would be for B, GB, E, and B. I will make a motion that we adopt GB, E, and B for our enhanced care.
Allowing carry.
With the proper purpose.
Okay, I have a motion on the table.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Jones, for that second. Any further discussion? I will call for a vote. I'm going to do this individually. District 1, oh, that's the start phrase. District 2,
No.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 5, no. So motion split. Failed that, So motion dies. Would someone else like to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we adopt GBEN version 8, the original version that we got from MSBA, which disallows for carrying concealed weapons in the classroom.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second.
Second is what we discussed.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Jones, for that second. Back on the table, any further discussion?
Well, yeah, as I stated earlier, our teachers have enough to be concerned with right now, in addition to starting to introduce weapons. They have to make sure they maintain control over it at all times, in addition to the teaching. And I don't see how having our teachers with weapons make our kids any safer. And again, so that is the only question that I ask myself. Does this make it safer for our students, for our teachers to be on? And I can't see in any way where that is the case. Because again, when the teachers in the classroom, they are not peace officers. They're not there to provide security. They're there to provide instruction and teaching to our students. And then our leadership team asked us for this policy originally. This is what they asked us to provide. This is one that was presented to us initially. So we have to also lean on their advice because they are the professionals. They are the ones in the school day in and day out. They are the ones that have to deal with this policy once it is enacted. And so again, I would be remiss to say, well, they don't know what we're talking about. Because they don't want to do that. I am not a professional educator that's in the classroom with our students day in and day out, but they are. And then they asked us to pass this policy, so I'm going to support you with that.
Let me ask you, Mr. Walton. Would it be okay if I ask Mr. Harrod?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't want to overstep you. Mr. Harrod, would you just come up, and I want you to come up here because of the audio issue, because I do want to make that known. Anybody who talks, hopefully in the future we can get you to come up so the public can hear on the live stream. We we have asked you, I know you were there for our workshop, but would you please, share with the board, share with the public, your opinion on guns in the school by teachers with a concealed and concealed carry permit? How do you feel about that as our chief officer?
As law enforcement and I speak, as like we talked about before with Sheriff Allison, that we know there's a great liability of how it's being used, how it's trained, how we go through training, and how we, in close quarters and in schools and different things like that. In other words, it's not just the shooting target and that's it. And we pass, and this is how we go. We go through some additional training. We go through, and you see the reenactments when we go through these trainings. You see the outcomes of because it's a high stress situation or training. So people, how officers react to those situations. There's so many variables with the whole gun situation. And just the safeguard of the weapon and or in the teachers' position. I think a lot just goes back to what kind of training is being provided and how they handle what's going to happen when we're responding to this situation. And we see somebody with guns and that shooter. A lot of your officers are done. They're not going to take that time to try to identify as the teachers, as the good person, as the bad person, things like that. It could be some innocent casualties. There's reasons for jail. Okay, when we step inside the jail, we're going to pull our gun out. It's going to go in a lockbox. We're going to put a key in our lock. There's a reason we don't carry our guns in jail, and that's around individuals who we know about, right? But we do that because we know there's safeguards, controlled environments like schools. Same thing. It boils down to training. If they're going to go through the proper training to how to handle these situations in close quarters with schools in relation to our response and the sheriff's department's response and how it's all going to work together. That's something that
I know we've asked you numerous times, and I know you keep saying the same thing, but I kind of wanted it just on the, since we have the public able to watch them through live streaming. Okay, thank you, Consultant Chief.
The chief here, he alluded to an active shooting situation. And if we were to have one at the school scene, one of the first things we're going to do, because our 911 system reactivated, and when our law enforcement respond, like you said just then, when they start seeing somebody with a gun, they may not have the time to understand who that person is. They may not recognize that person because it'd be more than just our school resource officers. And the first thing you see is you see somebody standing with a gun. They may be a teacher, but again, they may not know that. The first thing they're going to assume is that's an active shooting. So yes, you really created another hazardous situation. As far as the enhanced carry permit training goes, there are many individuals that go through the training that are probably very proficient in it. But at the same time, there are other individuals that go through that same training. And that training just provides you with 8 hours of classroom activity learning. There's an opportunity to actually handle a gun, and you'll get a chance to go to a target range and shoot a paper target that's about 12 inches. And all you gotta do is hit that target within a certain score, and then you pass the course. But that does not give you the type of training necessary to respond to an active shooting situation. So you put yourself in a very stressful situation. We ask my teacher to do that, and that's not something they do. You take people that's in the military, people that are in the police, people that even the fishing game, they train for that. That's what they do on a daily basis. So they are able to adequately respond to those type of situations. But our teachers, I don't believe the bulk of them, now there may be some, but I don't believe the bulk of them have the training necessary to be able to respond to an active shooting situation and proficiently shoot a gun. I've seen individuals shooting paper target and just trying to shoot that paper target, and the gun's going all over the place. You know, you'd be really surprised at how scary it is to actually shoot a firearm. So again, I just don't think that we've had enough training to put our teachers in that kind of situation.
I go back to Mr. Frazier's opening remarks to the fact that we as a board have been advised through our legal counsel to adopt that policy, to adopt a, I've taken numerous workshops at this point, some at the state level and then at local level, and 100% of the panels that were made up of different people, of a diversity, 100% were opposed to guns in the schools. I have a hard time having people who are the authority of a field, whether it be the law or our superintendent, who is an authority in education, tell me and ask me not to do something and continue to say, no, I think I know better. So we have been told over and over and over by people who are way more qualified than I am to not have guns in our schools. So I stand on my opinion. I have read, I have discussed, I have talked, I have been educated, and like Mr. Frazier said, we have been at this for a while. And it saddens me that I feel like we're going to leave here again tonight at the same exact spot. School safety has been something since I've been on board that has always been top priority to me. And we've had, that's part of the students sitting on our board table. That was part of having them here, was to also highlight weaknesses in our district that we need to improve on. And that's one thing I had said earlier, Gage really took that a lot of horns and highlighted gates that need to be locked and certain safety features that he felt needed to be in place as a student. And we have implemented many, many, many things since I've been on board. I feel like we have come a long, not because of me, but because of that span of time within those 6 years, we have implemented and come a long way in safety. And I feel like we would not be doing everything that we should be doing or can do to improve that safety in our district by allowing firearms to be carried by people who are not adequately trained. I'm not saying properly trained, they're just not adequately trained. And we've heard that time and time again. And it's not just even an initial training, it is an ongoing training. I am not opposed to guns in our schools with rigorous ongoing training, whether it be the guardian angel training, whether it be a resource officer training, whatever that training looks like. But I think we would be very negligent in our approach of just saying because you've gotten this enhanced carry permit that now you have a right to carry guns in our schools. I really feel like after the legal advice, after our administrators, after our resource officers, after an FBI agent who specializes in this, has all said, no, it is not a good choice, that we would be negligent at that point if we did this. That's my opinion. Any other comments, statements? Because we have a motion on the table.
A lot of good voice about the training and inadequate training for enhanced carry. If that is so, then that needs to be handled at the state level. It's a state law that you have an enhanced carry. School property is allowed. That's a state law. And if that needs to be adjusted, that's where it needs to be. Why did they put that disclaimer in there? Allow it to be covered. They didn't want to tackle that one because of, I don't know.
Because they didn't want to go through this, what we're going.
Let me address it. So again, this, if you read this entire document, all of that discussion is in here. Talks about, the state, maybe they did not adequately address that question. But at the same time, even though that wasn't addressed, the school still has the right to make the decision not to allow guns in the classroom. So that still also is a state law. The state law says the school has home rule, and they had the right to make that call for their campuses. So it's not a violation of the law.
To a certain extent. It's an opinion, but the state law for enhanced carry is you can carry. And everything except for a court session and
That's another thing.
also, having this policy set before GED in place does not prevent anyone, much less bringing the school, bringing the gun on campus. The little decals with the circle and with the X in the knife, the ball in the knife, doesn't prevent anyone from carrying inside that bank, that restaurant, that mall. It doesn't stop.
And you're absolutely right about that again. But again, if we are concerned about somebody bringing a gun onto the campus illegally, the superintendent already has the authority to install metal detectors to detect guns being brought on campus, if we so choose. That's already part of our policy. So if we're concerned about somebody bringing a gun on campus, then that's what we need to be focusing on.
And so at that point, Mr. Jones, someone would be able to walk in with a concealed carry in our employees' line. That's what we're saying, right? Someone from the general public could walk into our campus for a football game, a baseball game, with a concealed carry on. There's nothing we can do about it.
Well, this policy would not even.
I understand.
Yeah, even if we can do that, I guess.
They can say, I'm gonna take my chances. It's a state law, I can carry this weapon, I'm gonna do it.
And they believe it.
Then it'll be up to us to decide on the discipline side of it.
Well, an employee can carry their gun at that football game and not be in violation of any law if they got the enhanced carry permit.
The football game, Mr. Chief, since it's a paid ticket, it's not going to be a public area at that point, so that might not be allowed. But, having a policy in place is good paper, but it doesn't prevent the problem. And I asked also at the beginning, do we have a problem with employees bringing weapons on campus?
Well, right now, we don't know. There's no way to tell because there's not a policy for them to disclose one way or another. So there may be teachers who are actually carrying guns at this very moment, but we don't know that because we don't have a policy.
Well, we can ask, have we had any incidents? Well, not, you don't have to get specific, but have we had any incidents with firearm being shown, ranged, last several years?
Not by an employer, not that I'm aware of. Officer Aaron, any incidents with an employee brandishing a weapon?
there's.
Let me finish that real quick. You gotta also understand, our employees, forever, as long as I've been here, have been under the impression they're not allowed to bring weapons on campus. Because we're under federal law. So they were under the impression they could. When this came to light, and it all goes back to the new enhanced concealed carry law. When that came about, that brought this to the forefront. When it brought it to the forefront, school districts and the Mississippi School Board Association said, we need a policy to address, because, just like the gentlemen are discussing, it didn't address school campuses. It addressed courtrooms and one other place. Police stations.
So before that, you were under federal law that you could not.
Correct. The state law came in, and again, they specifically addressed courtrooms and police stations, but they didn't, and they left it wide open.
Yeah, we understand why they don't want to touch school issues.
I'll answer that. I'll answer this question for you. It's political.
Yeah.
It's political. And anything that political that they feel might hurt them in the next election, they're going to punt it, and they're going to punt it to you. They punted a lot of things to you. Okay? Unfortunately, and that's why you're having to have this discussion. And I apologize for the medical things that you're having to discuss. I apologize for this. But unfortunately, it's punted.
It's not your fault either.
So, but anyway, that's why this is where it is today. Okay? Now, I spoke directly to the chairman of the committee that deals with this and asked, would y'all be willing to review this policy, this law, and incorporate the other public organizations like school districts? And he said, no, it's political football, we're not going to touch it. He admitted it. So they're not going to touch it because it's political. And I'm not, I've provided you with what you want, okay? But again, to me, this is not political. To me, this is not even constitutional. To me, it's school safety. When I made that statement, and the first thing, don't ask me to choose between school safety and the safety of a kid and the Constitution. I love the Constitution of the United States of America. I love it. I love kids' lives even more.
So the question you really asked is, what is the benefit for our teachers to be on in the classroom? That's really the question we need to be asking. What's the benefit? Is there one? I mean, we haven't had any, not to say we won't, but we haven't had any shootings in our school. Not to say we won't, but we haven't. So the question is there a benefit at this point in time for our teachers to be on? And if you can sit there and say, yes, there's a benefit, then I would say you vote for version B. But if you can't sit there and articulate an actual benefit for our teachers to be on, then you should vote for version A. Just allow me.
Just like any type of accident, I can't simulate exactly what would happen. But I could see where it could stop an active shooting situation where it isn't even happening. If someone, drew and that particular active shooter knew that he was faced with someone who was armed, I don't know, because every situation is different. And I feel so much better that we have, people can't just open the doors, in hallways and things. I go down the hallway and open the doors. But I can see in my mind, just the way I see it in my mind, just closing when I was thinking about the situation, I can see a trained individual standing in the doorway and saying, not this classroom. You're not coming in this classroom. And I know that our teachers, I know that our school bus drivers, I know that our coaches would stand in the way of the bullet of a child. Just like the situation on the school bus a few years ago that we saw in the national news. So I have my doubts are not with people, not with the employees.
Not with the intent that they would have.
Right,
But that's the question is, you doing CPR versus my daughter who's a nurse doing CPR, two totally different things. Because she is regimented in doing CPR. And that's my biggest concern
I
is
understand.
if they're not regimented in handling that gun, that there be more harm done than good. And if we're not having a harm, and to the argument that he has, if we're not having a harm, which thank God, because we have a lot of praying parents and a praying community, that I don't know that those gambling with that is right for me.
I completely understand, and I hope you all understand. I think I can speak for Mr. Jones, because we have the same passion for the safety of the children.
Absolutely. Oh.
Versus the
Constitution.
Constitution.
We've spent the money. We have spent the money on the sliders. We have
Right.
spent the money on the resource officers at every school.
Right.
We, as a board and as a district, are relentless with that. We are all on the same page.
I think you can go back and look at any situation, any major tragedy and say, well, if this would have, if you go back to Columbine and say, well, if teachers were armed, or if you go back to another situation and say, well, if they weren't armed, it's one of this is one of those probably few things, in my opinion, where it's not exactly clear. And I go back to what Mr. Lumpkin said, and it is falling into our laps. And I know everybody's speaking from their heart, doing what they think is right.
Okay, well, I have a question for you now. If it's not exactly clear to you.
Well, I mean, I lean toward the side of it being, obviously, an emotion I've spoken from the beginning.
Why would you not?
You make the right call. And I sell cars for a living, so.
Come on.
You make the decision you think is right at the time.
Right.
And that's what I'm doing.
I understand. Why, if it's not a clear decision, if it's not something that you are 100% clear about, would you not lean on the recommendation from your superintendent? Who is in charge of your student children?
And I understand.
I
understand. You put me on the spot. You
Let me
know.
reference this statement first. Speak freely, son. You're not gonna worry about it.
No, personally, no. I mean, I understand that. It's the beauty about this board is we can disagree and be friends and love each other, but.
And maybe some shorts over there.
Yeah, thank you. I just can't wear them here.
Please don't.
But you understand my question, and that's what I continue to go back to.
I do.
And this is similar, like Mr. Lumpkin said about the whole medical thing. We're faced with these challenges.
That's coming.
Oh, yeah, we're faced with these challenges that we're not educated to the fullest in regards to that. I'm not an epidemiologist. I'm not an FBI agent. I'm not a resource officer. So we're being asked to make these decisions. But that's why, again, I would then tend to lean, and I'm not saying 100% of the time, do I always agree with Mr. Lumpkin? And do I not say, no, I don't like that? But definitely when it comes to educating the students, when they are being educated correctly and we're seeing continual improvement, then absolutely I'm going to lean on his expertise in education. So the same in regards to this.
Well, I can, if I'm not 100% clear, I can abstain from a vote. We have the same outcome.
We would.
But if I'm asked to be,
Oh, say it's a no.
No, it's,
I mean-
if it
not in this situation.
No.
if he doesn't vote, it is.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
So it would be a yes. So it would be the
Well-
same. But wait, there's the same vote though, right? Oh, okay, yeah, because this vote, you put the motion on the same. Okay.
If I'm asked to make a decision and make a vote on this policy right now, it's big. And that's where I
It would be a
stand.
no.
That's where I stand.
Yeah, but this is, that's
Yes.
it's an A right there, okay.
Yeah, I know.
Yes, sir.
I just want to clarify something in reference to you and I appreciate your comments in reference to the recommendation from the superintendent. I want to clarify, I don't lean on my own understanding. This is not my area either. We're talking about weapons on campus, that's school safety, point blank. I think everybody agrees that's what we're talking about. I lean on the experts in school safety, and that's where we looked. And that's why you received our recommendation, because that's what the experts in that area. Like I said, we're not going to do ask our nurses how they feel about employees and we're going to ask the experts in the arena of school safety. So this is, I just want to make sure.
No, right.
I don't lean on my own understanding.
Right, well, that's why
Because
I
that
talked
would be-
about your academic stuff, you lean on you for the academics, and then this is the information he's got. Go ahead. Oh, Mr. Jones, I'm sorry.
Okay, well, because I got the floor again.
You got it.
I hate to monopolize, but I do have some passion around this as well. Now, when we first started the meeting today, this afternoon, Mr. Lumpkin said, I love data. I love data. We rely on data. And then we have this, what's it, Binky, get up and talk about data, how you can use data to tell a story. And so and somebody just asked a question, well, have we had any incidents? And nobody can think of any right now. Now, we have done a lot of things in this school district to try to improve safety, including providing an armed resource officer at every school. We provided with an electronic lock door, we're still getting it, putting fencing all around the classroom, doing a lot of things to improve safety. And then so that's the question, well, why did we do that? Because you do what you call a risk analysis. And part of that risk analysis is looking at the likelihood of something happening. And thus far, since we have no data to go on and say this happened at our school, the likelihood is relatively low. So then when you come in and start adding weapons into a situation that you're trying to solve a problem that you don't have right now. But then when you start bringing in weapons, additional weapons, then the likelihood starts to increase. So now when you're doing that risk analysis, you only had 4 guns, and now you got an unknown number of guns in your location. The hazard has increased tremendously because you're dealing with an unknown. Now you have no idea who has a weapon. And you told everybody, all you gotta do is go to training, get your enhanced carry permit, and you ain't got to tell us. You can have a weapon. So now you got an unknown there. And now you really got a hazard because you can't even address it. So right now, if we have a policy, at least they know what the expectation is. Because it's just like the children. If you don't tell them what you want, they can't provide it to you. And the same thing with our employees. If we don't tell them what the expectation is, they can't provide it. And right now, again, the only question, and this is the only question we should be asking ourselves, does it make our kids safer? And why do we want to do this? So there's 2 questions. Why do we want to arm our teachers? And does that make our students safer? And I just can't, I want somebody to tell me that, because I don't see it.
Go ahead, Mr. Jones.
This discussion is not about arming our teachers. It's about them carrying the weapon under the state law for enhanced carry permit or personal protection. You asked about the benefits of that to the classroom. It's not to be a vigilante, it's not to be a police force, it is for personal protection. And I would dare say that anybody that does have an enhanced carry permit, the last thing that they ever want to do would be to pull that weapon out for anything other than target practice. All range. The ideal situation would be for no one to ever know that that person has an enhanced carry permit, much less carrying any kind of day. It's personal safety. I feel like I'm a pretty good driver. But when I did that mortgage forward out there, the safety belt is on. I couldn't get in every time. I'm not expecting a wreck, but I put that on because I want that safety. That personal safety for me. So it's not like I'm anticipating a problem. I'm anticipating not having an issue at all. what I want to say for this meeting. And the percentage of Mississippians in general that have enhanced carry is a small percentage. Percentage of our teachers can't be, what would we estimate it would be?
And I was told that a very small percentage of the people who get the certification go get the permit.
We don't know that. Yes, you guess.
No, I'm not guessing. I was told that by an instructor.
If you register for enhanced carry, the police departments have access to that data. I don't know what the legal ramifications of our police force going and looking at the list of our teachers, our employees, and finding out which ones do or don't have it. That's another issue which is going also.
We have a motion on the table and more comments regards to this motion. Now, to reiterate, the motion is for considering to discuss and approve policy B and A. Mr. Frazier's motion. We'll call for an individual vote. District 1, or District 2.
Yes.
District 3.
No.
District 4.
No.
District 5 votes yes. Motion dies. Okay, so my recommendation, Mr. Logan, is to have this, to reappear next month. Oh,
But when I can fail, come back to the board, it has to be approved by the vote, they would come back.
At another meeting and then have a.
Because if not, it's coming back.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
but that if we have a even number, then it's the same thing.
But normally,
I know that's why I went back on the table for next month, but I know we have an odd number and have a.
Unless the Irish returns are out.
I want Ms. Bird, so that she can have an opinion,
And then I know Ms. Bird was on the fence, so
she was on the fence as well, so it's not like, it's not stacking the table, it's trying to get us out of, to make a decision either way, because at this
I'm
point,
okay
we
with
have.
coming back, I just don't know the
there's
formality
a meeting
what has
that
to
will
happen.
get back. Let's find out what that is, how to bring it back to the table to the board, and pursue that. We can move that on. We don't have to do it tonight.
I'm trying to think, I guess, we just talked about that.
I don't know if anybody won't want to come back, so
But there is.
I can't go with the policy.
Mr. Jones is
Just,
correct.
we just talked about it at conference, and I cannot remember.
I can get with Mr. Keith about that. Like Mr. Aaron said, I don't think the intents were not on that. It's just the process, the correct process to bring it back.
There is a policy that talks about bringing issues back to the board. Not tonight, because I can't call it.
Watch this, when would you have it, though?
I can have it by in the morning.
you probably have 15 minutes.
Okay, well, let's do that, motion dies. All right, do I have a motion to consider approving the 2021-2022 PRC School District Relaunch Plan? Thank you for that motion, Mr. Howard. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you for that second, Mr. Jones. All right, let's have our discussion. Mr. Lumpkin, will you just give us a brief synopsis of any changes?
The only thing that changes is the striking of the language referring to our suspension of in-person learning.
Yes, sir.
That's the only thing.
Okay, so let's do this. This is what I was thinking. We'll take it. Now, it shouldn't be as lengthy of a process because I'm just going to literally touch each topic, if that's okay. Now, I will ask if there's, as I touch it, we'll just do it this way. Okay, under personal protection, protective equipment, the recommendation is to leave it as it is currently. Does anybody have any, Mr. Howard, I figured you would smile over there. Tell me what you think.
Just short of me getting at the podium. We've already talked about it tonight, and we want input from our parents. We want our parents to be involved, right? And as we all say, safety is a top priority. Now, our different views of that is probably what we're arguing on today, right? But I do know, I don't know how many board meetings I've attended, however many meetings have been in my term.
Not as many as he has. I guarantee that.
Well, he might can help me with this. There's probably been more controversy over other things. But from my experience, what I've heard the most of is parents, teachers, and other employees wanting a mask to be a choice. Now, I was sitting in, I'm not going to make it religious, but I was sitting in church Sunday, and thankfully we had a full house. I don't know how many people that is, several hundred people. I probably couldn't count 4 masks. I try to avoid Walmart. I don't like crowds after I'm off of work. I try to avoid retail stores best I can while I'm off of work. Just because you get inundated with conversation and sometimes you need to relax. But I have gone recently, and very, very few people are wearing masks. Anywhere you go, any restaurant you go to, here in this county, people are not wearing masks. I've gotten, I don't even know how many emails, I probably should have counted. I'm getting emails from people that are not in my district. Of course, the first thing I say when it's a hot topic is, am I your board member?
You try to pass it on.
Right.
Oh, wait. I'd love to know who Darrell Times' board member is, because Lord knows he is one man.
Yeah, I'm the one who sent the mask email to all of y'all.
So,
Yes.
He is yours? That's what I
Yes.
thought. That's what I thought.
of course, you know I have 3 children in the district, and before my term is over, I will have 5 children in the district. I don't know, I'm not saying, I think I have an advantage over here, and then you all had children, we all had children through this district. I don't know that you've had children through this district coming through as a first grader, a 4th grader, with masks on. This year we're in school about 10 hours more a week. Is that right? About 2 more hours a day.
Correct. From last year.
From last year. And that's 10 more hours of masking a day. It's hot. It's very hot. It's stressful. It's stressful for our employees, it's stressful for our children. I don't know if we're really thinking about school safety, our children's safety, and we're thinking about parental, we want interaction, we want our parents to be involved. But right here, guys, we are not listening to them. We are not listening to our parents, and we are not listening to our staff. With that being said, I would like to make a motion.
Wait, I have a question for you first. You've got a lot of teacher
Yes.
response or opinions to the effect of no mask.
Yes.
I've had the opposite. I'm just putting that out there.
Well,
That's why
and you know,
said that.
And they may be emailing who they think will.
Maybe.
Depending on, when you're an employee and maybe you don't live in the district, I don't know what you would do. If I were an employee, I would tend to go to the person who's got my opinion, saying, my similar opinion. So I've taken them from anybody, and I've done my due diligence and tried to pass as much as I can on. I know Mr. Lumpkin, I can't imagine what all of you, I mean, Mr. Lumpkin was, from what I understand, on the phone with my wife yesterday as a parent, because I told her to call her superintendent. She had emailed me, but I didn't reply. So, I know, again, that we're doing what we think is right, individually. But I know when we were at that cafeteria, and we had, I believe, 9 public comments, which I think we would have had more if people would have realized, what the process is and what they needed to do. Not that we didn't voice it. But if you take that situation alone, it was 75% for unmasking children. Now, if you want, I totally believe, I'm not a mask shamer. If you want to wear a mask, I don't see you any differently. If you want to send your children with masks, I've already told my children this. If it comes up, you don't say a word. I believe that's the right call. We don't have guidance from the state on this, which is another sad situation. Because when that happens, we just have to go with it. We don't have a choice. This is put back in our laps, and I don't think any of us are medical professionals. I don't think we've heard from a medical professional. You take GBE in, and we've pulled in everybody, every professional. But you take a mask mandate, and I don't think we've talked to anybody. I don't think we've heard from anybody. I don't think we've solicited anybody. Now, we have some of those public comments, I believe, were medical professionals. Yeah.
Hey, I love you, so I'm going to interject.
Yeah.
We have.
Yes, sir.
We have reached out. And I attend a virtual meeting with Dr. Dodds every Friday. He is the state medical doctor for the state of Mississippi. Dr. Byers is a state epidemiologist, the expert in disease control. So we speak to them weekly.
And I'm sorry, Mr. Lumpkin, I guess I meant as a board, brought to our.
The board has been provided to the recommendations by the health experts in reference to disease control, which we're currently in a pandemic. And I don't have to repeat the recommendation. You have to. So the experts have spoken as much or even more than even home issues. I love you.
No, I appreciate that.
I'm on the same call from you.
I appreciate that because I need to realize that in my passionate spill. And I guess what I was referring to is
Like a workshop.
standing here
I get you.
telling us, and again, that's a recommendation.
Correct.
That's a recommendation. It's not a mandate. So if that's a recommendation, then we can move that recommendation to our relaunch plan and recommend you wear a mask. Recommend you send your child a mask. My oldest son and my second son have reactive airways disease. If the temperature changes, their windpipe freezes, shrinks. I know we can go get a medical release for that. I know we can. We haven't. But I'm also speaking for the people who have anxiety that a doctor will not touch on this. A doctor will not touch sending a note about anxiety. I don't believe. There may be some already in there. I think they want to stay far away from it, which again puts it back in our laps. So, my recommendation, my motion, I'd like to make a motion that we change this portion of our relaunch plan to go back to making masks recommended but not required.
Okay, we have a motion from the table. Do I have a second? killing me. Oh. I'm gonna do like I did last time. I'm gonna,
But his motion was actually an amendment to the motion they have on the table to adopt the policy.
right, but what I'm gonna do is, just like I did last time, is go item for item, and then vote for the entire amendment.
If I did that, I'm sorry.
No, you're right, you won't. You did.
You didn't give a second, so we got it.
Yeah, but what we need to do is have it like as discuss the relaunch plan, and then you can do individual motions and then adopt it as amended. Go ahead.
Well, if I could just make a statement, and I appreciate your passion for it. This is not fun. Okay. I want to reference a couple of points that you made in reference to our public and our community. You are correct. Wearing a face covering is not being practiced by our community. But I also believe that possibly could be the reason we're in the top 10 in the county reference. I'm not an expert, but I do, so I can't give you facts on that. I can give you a fact. I've been driving a school bus a lot. Wearing this on a school bus, it's not fun. So I get that part of it. I get our employees are dealing with it the same way. There's nothing fun about wearing a face cover. There's no doubt about that. What we're hearing, talking about what the experts are saying, this too shall pass, and I want our community to understand that. I'm talking to our board members, to our students, Presley, our community, our employees. This too shall pass. We're going through a COVID spike. This too shall pass. They feel that this is going to pass quickly because more people are getting it quicker, the Delta variant. So, again, I believe if our community, if our students, our employees will be patient, this too shall pass. We were in face coverings for an entire school year last year. I personally, from the information from the experts, do not believe that we will be in that situation for the entirety of the school year because of the data that's coming in on the spike. So I just want to give, you are correct, there are people on both sides of this, and I'll tell you, I'm getting phone calls and I'm getting emails from employees. I get employees that won't, it's kind of totally, advocate for us, you know. We want face coverings. The children are statistically, it's not a, for lack of a better term, it's not fatal for them. And we've had some students pass in Mississippi, but statistically, the students are going to recover. The adults, which are your employees in your school district, those won't be advocated for on that side. There are employees as well, just like you stated, that are tired of wearing these things, and it's aggravating, it's discomforting, and those type of things, and you know, those type of things. So you are correct, there are people on both sides. But I want to just encourage everyone, no matter what side of this you're on, this too shall pass, because even people that are advocating for face coverings, they want this to pass. The people that don't want to wear the face coverings, they want it to pass. This too shall pass. We will get through this COVID spike. Our numbers are declining. You get the report weekly. It is declining. So I just want to encourage everyone, no matter which side you're on face coverings, this too shall pass. And we will get out of this. I believe that.
further discussion in regards to the personal protective equipment? Okay, so this should go. Screening protocol. Any questions, statements? Campus visitors, questions, statements. The sanitizing, questions, or statements. Disinfection of the classrooms by employees and then by the students. The building, facility modifications. Student meals will be the same. Student transportation. Student assembly and field trips. Athletic activities. COVID quarantine guidelines. The cohort. Any question statements in regards to the cohort? I did have a question, I think it's coming up a little later. Okay, the administrative leave for the employees. So I had a question, I mean, September 14th is right around the corner, and we don't have another board meeting. Are we just gonna call one, or like?
You got a couple of options, and I want to speak in reference to that. Before I do, I'm sorry, I want to make one last statement with these comments. We also use common sense. And what I mean by that is, again, it's indoors where social distancing can't be maintained, because I've already got an email that if I'm seen without a face mask, I'm going to be Facebook Live or pictured and all that stuff. I drive a school bus. I leave at 5:20 in the morning from transportation department. I'm headed out to pick up kids. I'm the only one on that bus. This is what my face mask looks like. I use common sense. I'm indoors in a bus with nobody else on it. I pull up to that first kid, I put my mask on. He gets on the bus, he is midway back of the bus. He is 30 feet from me. Common sense. And I think our employees, our students, and our community needs to understand that as well too. Use that common sense. And because I think the thought process is, you mentioned 10 hours. My kids at school 8 hours, and he's masked up for 8 hours. To use common sense. Okay? So, and that's something that we discuss and talk about. And I just wanted to share that, because I think that's important. Because guess what? You might get a picture of me driving a school bus tomorrow, and it might look like this. But there's no kids on the school bus, or the kids in the back of the school bus. Okay? So just lay that groundwork in case you get a picture.
Somebody listening, please send that picture in.
All right.
So, and that's something that I have said over and over.
Correct.
If we can be 3 feet apart and the kids are in an instructional setting, please, I almost want to encourage the teachers to say, hey, let's take a break, you're 3 feet apart. We're abiding by the recommended rules.
That's right.
We've talked about that. If there are little personal dividers, please, if the teachers can use them so that the kids can take their masks off. I have asthma, that goes back to things I've said, it's difficult. Okay.
Sorry.
No, that's right.
All right.
Where was I at? Oh, yeah, the leave. I had
The
a question
leave,
about
you are correct. And again, we didn't know if he was going to extend, the governor, is who I'm referring to, was going to extend the administrative leave. We don't know coming up.
Right.
But we do need to, I'm asking the board to, you can do it now in lieu of when it expires. But I'm asking you to consider the process of providing additional sick leave days for our employees. And I talked to you before, some school districts have 5, some of them 10, in reference to when this expires, we can no longer provide administrative leave to our employees. So they would be having to take their own personal and sick leave when they have a COVID situation. So You can do it tonight, you can wait until it expires. If it doesn't expire, you don't have to, or if it extends it, you don't have to deal with it. And if it does, you can say, okay, we need a special call meeting to address it, or you can put something in lieu of when this expires. Blah, blah, blah.
I mean, 14 is Tuesday. You know, so.
I have a question. I think I mentioned it last time. If they're quarantined by us, then I do believe that we should provide that. So that covers that. I'm not going to go up on the state income and insurance and things like that. As an employee, if someone gets sick and is unable to work in the hospital, how does that work? And if we don't need to talk about that right now, within this, I'm thinking that one could carry on to the next, and it's still on the district at that point. Okay.
The administrative leave can only be provided when the district requires you to quarantine.
Okay.
And we've had some situations where employees have contracted the COVID virus and then hospitalized. They received administrative leave for the 10-day quarantine, but after that, they had to pick up the person's sick leave because they weren't required by the district to quarantine.
And when that's out.
What's that?
And when that runs out, what happens?
When an employee runs out of personal and sick leave,
Yes, and they're still.
they do not receive pay if they're not working.
So what Mr. Lumpkin is saying is we can commit to the 10 days.
Sure. I
Or whatever amount of days.
if we change it.
If what?
If you mean if we change it, because right now we would want.
Yeah. No, if it's 5 days, he said some districts.
Oh, I see what you're saying. If it's under 10, we would
Right,
commit to up to 10.
Right. So that's up to y'all, what y'all want to do. So we're just a few days away. We may not have to deal with it, like you said, they may extend it. It's Tuesday.
Or you just put in the wording, when the state of emergency expires, each employee will be provided X amount of additional sick days. And I would ask you to include it in the language, if you do go that route for this school year. Then, right, if you
So
don't
that
have
would cover you, we would have to bring it up again.
you would have to bring it again. And next year, you go back to your normal allotment of days next year like you normally would. You wouldn't go back to the additional days that you have. You just need to specify that it's just for this school. Now, they don't lose them if they don't use them, but I ain't just like, but you get 7 and 2, I believe. TJ's not here, but they're 7 and 2, and you get 7 sick and 2 partial. So if you added sick days this year, because of the pandemic, next year you'd want to go back to the 7 and 2. Right.
So what if a certain employee was quarantined multiple times? Under state of emergency, they're covered under, so we would want to mirror that.
We've had that. So, and that's something that's kind of been confusing for employees, is because it goes back to COVID leave. The federal COVID Act, back when we started the first pandemic, provided 80 hours, which is 10 days. And that's still in the mind of our employees a lot of time, and it gets them confused because of administrative leave. Administrative leave is not COVID leave that was provided by the federal act, COVID leave act. It's administrative leave. There's no limit on it. Every time that the district says you can't come to work because someone in your household tested positive for COVID, or you tested positive for COVID, you're getting administrative leave. And we've had employees that succeeded in the number 10 because they've had multiple quarantines.
So when you make your motion, just say amend the relaunch plan. Is that what you were saying before?
I make a motion to amend the relaunch plan, that if the state of emergency expires on September 14th, the district will will provide administrative leave during the quarantine period for employees. I'm sorry.
Provide provide additional.
Okay, provide an additional 10 days
Sick leave.
sick leave for the quarantine period.
And for the year
Don't put 2021,
2021-2022.
Additional sick days. Because they can use them, and that's what you gotta understand, they use them anything.
Oh, I got you.
Anything.
For the 21-22 school year.
Basically, once this expires, it does away with anything COVID-wise. Because state of emergency is done. You just got 10 additional days and you use them, you get COVID, it benefits you, if you don't, it still benefits you.
Dr. Bowman, you got the 2021-2022 school year.
I have a motion to amend the relaunch plan that if the state of emergency expires on September 14th, we will provide 10 additional sick days for the 2021-2022 school year.
That's perfect.
It don't have to be COVID related, either. This is 6 days period.
Correct.
Okay, we have a motion on the table. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you for that second. All in favor, make no by saying. Oh, yeah, we can discuss it again. Go ahead. Just kidding. See that old lady that's kicking in?
Was it related to, like a jar, was it related to COVID versus any use?
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of stuck on. I mean, I certainly had no problem with adding additional days for COVID-related illness, just adding 10 sick days period. I'm not sure what the rationale behind that. I certainly understand about the COVID case.
You have to get Jim Keefe to give you a legal explanation of that. And I'll tell you what we're running into, not just here, but statewide, nationwide, is a fully vaccinated person. Fully vaccinated person is not required to quarantine. So you've got, here's the scenarios that you're running into. You've got an employee who is not fully vaccinated that comes into a household exposure. They are quarantined for 10 days with pay, whereas someone who is fully vaccinated has got to come to work. So that is the dilemma that, again, kind of going to the issue. So this takes that out of the picture. You get 10 days whether you're vaccinated or not. So it doesn't kind of, right now, even administrative leave, it kind of punishes the people who are fully vaccinated. So just to be honest.
Yeah.
So this takes that off the table, and it doesn't matter what your vaccination status is. You're going to get 10 person sick days. Does that make sense?
I mean, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
It took a while.
Otherwise, here's what you're doing. Here's what you do. Okay? If you say it is dealing with COVID, only COVID leave, you're basically stating a fully vaccinated person, basically, unless they come down with COVID, which is possible, but not exposure. Whereas if someone is not fully vaccinated, they're going to get it. That's the limits.
Well, what it would do is allow you to be off with a sick child or quarantine, a young child.
Yes, if you had to take off, yes.
Right.
Because you got sick leave.
Instead of putting them somewhere where they could spread it.
Because it's sick leave, you can use it according to how you need to use it.
Mr. Jones, you
I
have
think,
a question?
you
remember.
okay, administratively, our employees, on the clock. Like, if you got a question, you want your employees to, if they're on admin leave, quarantine.
And that looks different. There's no expectation, is probably the best way to put it. I will tell you, if an administrator, I see Mr. Alexander and Ms. Penton back there, I can tell you, those principals right there, I know Mr. Alexander's been on administrative leave. Ms. Penton, have you? And I'm gonna tell you, they're working from home. the expectation, I mean, because they know, because of their role, if they don't do it, it doesn't get done. Okay, so that looks different. A school bus driver? No, you can't virtually drive a school bus. We would definitely be doing it, so we need some bus drivers. So it's the role, but there's no expectation. If you're quarantined, there's no expectation for you to be working. No.
There's not a lot of difference between sick leave and administrative leave, as far as that's concerned.
Correct.
Any other questions? I'll see you over there.
Yeah, my wheels are turning on you.
Mr. Frazier, this might can help you, and I know we got some administrators in the room today. Any benefit that we provide our employees, and I think the board, we have a heart for your employees, our administrative team has a heart for employees. Any benefit that you provide your employees can be manipulated. It is what it is. I will tell you the majority of our employees are not going to manipulate the system. I can't tell you that it's not going to happen. It happens. It happens. So, but to be able to put a secure type, no loophole situation in this COVID, it's going to be hard to do. Just to be honest.
It's going to punish some.
You know, so you want to try to provide that benefit, and again, close as many loopholes as you can without punishing the people who really need this. Does that make sense? It's hard to do. It's hard to do.
So if I had to guess about, I would guess that the state of emergency gets extended if we're not out of the spike. So in that case, you're kind of covered under, you know, if that, just say that went to December, well, you would have to just deal with it again in January or whatever it is. What does he usually wait until that expiration?
He did it past. He did it the day before last.
Right on it.
Yeah. And I think what another thing it does is it keeps it a little more simple for those having to keep up with who's got what. You know, was this sick? Was this the one? You know, as far as your administration.
Well, I can tell you on just the paperwork part of it, when this expires, it's going to be a lot less paperwork for us, because it's just going to be, if y'all put this through, they're going to get 5, 10, whatever you decide, sick leave added to their account balance. Use it when they need it. And we're not, you know, having to deal with it.
Because under the state of emergency, you're having to report all of those.
We'll still be reporting COVID case numbers, quarantines, those types. We'll still be reporting that. But what I'm talking about is me working with the payroll department on who's approved for administrative leave, all that. You want to deal with it. If you're out, take your sick leave.
Gotcha,
So it kind of makes that decent.
yeah.
And the lack of additional sick days drives certain behavior to
Repeat that.
prevention.
Repeat that.
If you don't have those additional sick days, it may drive the individual to do certain things in terms of preventing COVID altogether. It drives certain behaviors.
It could, and here's one thing, I don't know this is the direction you're going in, but maybe you come up with a thought. What it does, a lot of times an employee that doesn't have the sick leave available, and we all need a check, typically might come to work sick when they wouldn't have, because they don't have the sick leave there. Does that make sense? So it applies a little pressure for someone who is sick to come to work, because they need, if they don't have a sick time built up.
Just so I'm clear, how many sick days do they get normally?
7 sick days and 2 personal sick days.
7 sick days?
Each year.
So if this passes, then they'll have 17.
17. 17 and 2.
Well, two personal.
Yeah, 2 persons.
And those multiply.
The
Well,
10,
multiply, but they bank.
They.
You don't use them, they roll over to the next year. You got 7 this year, 7 sick, you didn't use any,
Yeah.
next year you got 14.
now will this, if we were to sell them 10, will that 10 also bank on
Yes.
as well?
Yes, sir. But it still banks, it still banks.
Oh, I see, yeah, that's
A lot of parts to it.
yeah. I feel like considering what they've gone through this year, like, if they can bank it, bank it. And if not, I hate that they have to take it.
Maybe it's more administrative.
I'm sure they want it.
Anybody want to share?
I agree with his boss, just to be
Wait,
honest.
hold on, Mr. Alexander, can
You
you?
got to go to the podium.
Can I change my mind? No, I would say I agree with Ms. Boss on, this.
You can say that out loud to
Is it right here? I'll say it a couple of times, but, I do agree because this school year, I'll be honest, last school year was hectic and stressful and overwhelming. This school year has brought a different element because of the preparations, and I'll be the first one to say that we were prepared for school, we weren't prepared to see what we saw in the first 7 days of school. And so it has been extremely overwhelming, and to the point that it's kind of like getting out of this COVID spike, just because we came back in person learning, the overwhelming feeling, the stress is still there to try to catch up the time we've lost. And so I would agree with what Ms. Moss said, and what our teachers are putting forth right now is unbelievable, the effort they're putting in. So anything that they get is more
They
than
were,
deserved. It's more than deserved. So I agree with that.
Thank you, Mr. Alexander.
Ms. Benton, want to share anything?
If you have to, you have to come to me. Okay, any further discussions? All right, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, make known by saying, oh, wait. Okay, the motion, let me get back to where I was, to make sure I got it. For administrative leave, can you read it one more time, Dr. Vogt? Just to make
Motion
sure.
to amend the relaunch plan, that if the state of emergency expires on September 14th, we will provide 10 additional sick days for the 2021-2022 school year.
Okay, we have a motion. Okay, go ahead.
I'm going a little late here. When I made the motion, and it was the 2021-2022 school year, I don't know that I knew that it would bank. I did not know that it would bank. So I can see that costing us in the future. And I don't know that it is being amended to be banked. Does that make sense?
The intent, you're saying,
Right.
is not for it to be made.
Right. So if that's something y'all want to discuss, I know it's,
Okay, so do you?
when I guess when I was making the motion of the 2021-22 school year, I thought that was for the 21-22, to be used in the 2021-22.
Use it, if you don't use it, you lose the
School year, the additional that we're talking about. And I don't think that's taking anything from anybody because it wasn't there in the first place.
Right.
So do
And I think
you-
that's when some districts are really fine, just to be honest.
Because if you take, I don't know the exact number, it's 400 some odd employees,
400.
and a daily, whatever the daily pay rate times 10, that's what it's going to cost. So I don't know.
I'm fine.
At this
If
point.
you're not okay with it, and that is your motion, I mean, you can, I guess you can, we really should let it just die.
I'm sorry, but I didn't realize until our discussion that was happening.
Okay.
And in our discussion, I don't know how that,
Because Mr. Jones brought it back up, have more discussion.
I don't know.
But if you're not happy with that, then
If-
we can just let it die. Because did I ever get a second on it? That's what I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to make sure.
It's to order both.
Two options,
We just-
guys,
Yeah,
and we can bring it up again with the
Okay,
stipulation,
okay.
or we can do an
Okay.
amendment to the amendment.
that's a lot.
I know.
I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, is that okay to ask?
I mean, no, we just have to let it vote, so I'll call for a vote. But go ahead. You go for it.
I'll straight some that, because the motion, as he made it, he said if it expires on September 14th. So that particular motion, if it doesn't
It
expire,
doesn't.
It's going anyway.
yeah, if it doesn't expire on the 14th and say maybe the 15th and 16th, then that stipulation goes away anyway, because it didn't expire on the
You
14th.
try to address it
Then
each
we have
month,
to
we
keep
can put
doing
that
it.
date in.
So it would have to expire on the 14th.
I will go ahead the way it is, because I'm pretty sure that it's going to be extended. So I will take it the way
Then it would die automatically.
Right. So we would know that, I would be able to bring that up the next time it comes up.
The next
I feel pretty confident if we are in a spike, that he's not going to drop us. Say the verse for the employees of the state. Right. Right. Okay,
Any more discussion?
I'm good to go.
I will call for a vote. All in favor,
Vote for it.
make no by saying aye. Aye. Motion. Did you stop? Of course, it's okay.
And
I'm tired of
I'd
voting.
like to just make a comment that
Motion carries, Dr. Bowman.
in my first couple of meetings, some things came up that I should have spoken up about, and I
You're
felt,
making up.
and I felt like, you know, why didn't you say something? Tell me something. Why didn't you say something? So if I sound crazy, it's because I decided I wasn't doing that anymore. If I didn't fully understand it, I wasn't letting it go.
No,
So,
that's important. I'm glad you-
okay. So that's why I also have been the only one to vote down my own motion.
I was gonna let that.
No, I knew it was coming, I saw it.
But I think you're good on your day here, because if it does expire, we just start school. They're gonna need 10 days, I'm dead. Because
Yeah.
the pandemic's not ending September
No, right,
14th.
that's exactly.
I'm telling you. So they're gonna need it anyway, so, and if he does extend it, you can bring it up out next month.
Okay, so the administrative leave we took care of, and then the communication for the relaunch, where it's gonna be communicated. Okay, virtual distance learning, I had a question about that. We opened it up, so that people can continue to enroll in virtual learning. We suspended the time frame. And Ms. Albert brought up the effects that could have on credit in high school and credit hours. So is that something that y'all were okay with leaving suspended at this point? Because I know she said it had to be, there was a certain time frame, and she's not here. I wanted to make
She
sure.
talked about it, that had to start at the beginning, right?
Yeah, but it had to carry a semester, and she said there was a time frame that we had, and I don't want to miss that, because they need to commit.
So right now, we're still within that time frame. We don't have an exact date that it has to be cut off, but we are right now halfway through the first 9 weeks. So any student that's in a 9 weeks course is going to be over half of that course is going to be missing when they get into that class. So
And they can start at the beginning?
they start completely over, so they start.
And I think as long as that's communicated, that's the chance there.
And we've had a lot, since you opened it up, we've had a lot more apply, and our high school counselors are doing really well with looking at their schedule and saying, look, this is the effects that it's gonna have on you, and a lot of those have decided to stay traditional because of that. So the counselors are looking at their specific situation and saying, here's where you are, and here's what effect it's gonna have if you do go to the virtual route. So there are some that are changing their mind once they, as an individual, see what that's gonna do to them.
Can I ask on the other campuses, you see an uptick in that as well?
In
As
what I'm
far
saying?
as the
Middle
open
school.
enrollment,
Middle school and elementary definitely have, a lot more have come through and signed up for virtual.
And it doesn't mean approved, it just means.
But they don't have, it's not the same situation.
Right, I do understand that, yes, sir.
Yeah,
They're on our,
Correct,
teaching.
correct.
Is that what you would say? Okay.
Okay, does anybody else have any questions or concerns about the virtual distance learning? Okay. That's just the attached, okay, times, the school times for every school. Anybody have any questions or concerns about that?
Can we go back?
Right.
I'm sorry.
To the virtual?
To the virtual.
Okay.
On that was my motion as well, but
Yes.
just, someone would tell me, did we open that up until this meeting?
It was just suspended.
So suspended.
Just
Okay.
suspended.
So we had said if we wanted to close it, we would have to do it at the next meeting.
Well, that was something that's why I didn't want to forget about that. Because I don't like opening things and then there be a potential.
Yeah, and I realize we've passed it, and if y'all, I'm just making that
They're
known.
saying it's okay.
We did say, hey, we're doing this, we're opening up, we have a mask mandate. I realize there's, you know where I'm at. I do realize there's a time where we might have to say, just make sure everybody knows it's.
Like she said, that the high school is the only place that it has that. You have to make a choice because you're having to start in class. But, as she said, the counselors are working and they're making those decisions and they know up front what that means to their schedule and their credit.
So if you were gonna cut it off, you would say we would cut the high school first. Probably, so just food for thought.
Middle school, because middle school's.
Yeah, middle school's on great results too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's middle school. Yeah.
Just food for thought. If anyone wants to do it.
Okay, so back to the times, everybody's good with the times. Okay, so we had the original motion to discuss and approve policy GBN, consider approving the 2021-2022 PRC School District relaunch plan as amended. And then, no more discussion, right, we're good? Oh, jeez. I will call for a vote. All in favor, make note by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously.
Ms. Foss, just for clarification, the amendments is just the strike portion.
Yes, sir.
This, what you presented to us.
And the administrative leave.
With the lead.
I meant the sick leave, I'm sorry. Right. I'm just checking, that's the only.
That's the only
amendment
one. Yes, sir.
To this point.
Okay. Do I have a motion to go into closed session to determine if we need to go into executive session for a student matter?
So motion.
Thank you for that motion, Mr. Frazier. Do I have a second? Thank you, Mr. Jones, for that second. Any discussion? I'll call for a vote. All in favor, make note by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously.